Waiting on it to. Hey, everyone. How are you doing on tonight? Welcome to Can We Talk for Real? Real talk for real people, the real and the raw. Listen, y'all, this is our annual Leadership Summit 2022. I am so excited on tonight, and actually this entire week. Y'all have to tune in every night this week. We have some dynamic guests that's going to come in, and they're just going to shake us up a little bit. We're going to talk about community. We're going to talk about marriages. We're going to talk about how to stop the bleeding in the church and why healing is so necessary. But tonight, night one, listen, y'all, I got my sister, listen, and she's also my personal financial coach as well, or my wealth strategist. I call it all that and then some. I am so excited at the fact that she is here and that she decided to join us on tonight. Takiyah Price with the Wealth Strategist, with the Wealth Frequency. Listen, I'm going to let her introduce herself because she is all that and a bag of chips, y'all. Listen, I get all of my financial advice from this woman right here because she knows exactly what she's talking about. She has never led me astray. And I'm so excited that y'all see her schedule be so busy, y'all. So I'm so excited that she was able to join us on tonight and I was able to snatch her up right quick. Y'all know how we do. Sometimes we got to snatch them up when we can. Y'all know. And I'm so excited. And Takiyah, thank you so much for joining us on the Can We Talk for Real? Y'all, listen, I'm just going to let you know and just give it to us real and the raw because we need help with our finances. You know what I'm saying? So many times that we talk about, I want wealth, I want this, and I want that. But in that same time, we're not doing what it takes. You know the conversation me and you had, because you had to get on me a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? That we want certain things. We want what we want when we want it, especially if we can afford it. But that does not always mean that we should get it right then and there. So I just want you to just come on. I want you to tell us about yourself. Tell us, about your amazing business. Listen, family, friends, sweet babies. This is the real deal on tonight, okay? So let's go on and get it on in.
Hi, I'm Takiyah Price. I'm a wealth strategist. I have been in the business, oh gosh, I'm going to tell my age, over 7 years of experience uh, building businesses, major corporations in my lifetime. And now I am teaching small business owners and individuals of how to build wealth and have wealth transfer. Now, the wealth frequency was a thought that I was on not Facebook, I was on Clubhouse. And it's a position that you're placed in when you're going to elevate. Whether you're an entrepreneur, you have different phases that you go through before you end up doing what everyone utilizes a lot. They like to use the word scaling. It's many things before you reach the phase of scaling. You also have different things in your life personally that you go through before you grow into the new you. So that's basically the wealth frequency. It's a position in life or in your business where you will grow and become more and greater, the abundance of everything.
Awesome. Awesome. So as I was thinking about finances over the weekend, I was just thinking about just some of the conversations I've had with several people, when they're talking about their finances and what they're wanting, whether they want a house, whether they want a car, whether they want to invest. Big thing now is a cryptocurrency. And we know the transfer of the wealth is happening. We talked about that earlier today. And just so many things that we want as a people, or as people that you even talk to yourself, and how how are we able to obtain those things? And I know the number one thing that we talked about, we've been talking about this last couple of years, is mindset when it comes to money. How to even handle. First of all, how do we even handle money? Let's just talk. Let's just go there for a second. Just having a dollar in your hand. How do we even handle when it comes to talking about money? Like, I'm talking about really handle, because we know, okay, especially us that go to church, we want to pay our tithes, we want to give an offering. A lot of times, if people can afford it, them pay 10% tithes, and them pay 10% offering, or whatever it is that their pockets can afford, or whatever they decide to do. That's between them and the Lord. I'm not here to judge anybody, okay? And then you got the percentage that you have in your hand. How should we and from a true perspective, with the economy being the way that it is, rent is at its all-time high. It's just crazy. But how do we really handle money when we're talking about wealth?
Okay. The advice that I've given to my clients is, if you can't buy it twice, then don't get it.
Okay.
You can't afford it. I don't care what it is. If you can't purchase it twice, you write it down, Tanya.
Yes.
Don't buy it. You can't afford it. You're going to need the money for something else, and it's not going to be there because you purchased something that you've overextended yourself with. So that's the first thing you can do. The mindset of having it right now is a need that you haven't learned the difference between a need and a want. You're thinking that your desires are what you need, and it's actually just what you want. Those are two different things. You don't have a budget when you push for something that you want. If you have a budget, you would know that you're going to overextend or hyperextend your finances because you've gone over your budget. And you would need one for the business if you're an entrepreneur, and you would need one for your personal life. You would need one for any events that you have if you're an entrepreneur. Anything that you do, that it requires a budget, so that it's an estimate of what is needed. So you don't really know if those items may cost that, but you can definitely give a rough estimate of what the bills will look like. So you have to understand what your needs and wants are, your desires, and if you can afford it, you should be able to purchase whatever it is that you want twice.
That's really good, because I know, like, for myself, one of the things I believe in is being transparent, right? So I remember back in the day, if I had a credit card, buy now, pay later. When I was in my 20s, that was my thing, but I also had a plan. If I could not pay for it within the 30-day period, or by the time that the bill was due, if I could not pay it in full or half, then I couldn't get it, because otherwise I'm creating debt, right? And so I noticed just in talking to people of all ages, because a poverty mindset, it does not have age.
No, it does not.
Lack of knowledge does not have an age. It's when we decide to educate ourselves on finances and really be financial savvy, as we say all the time. And if we're not financial savvy, then no, we can't go out to dinner. Well, we shouldn't. We shouldn't just be spending. Just, okay, it's payday, I'm going to treat myself. And listen, I've been there, and sometimes still is. I deserve to get paid right now. I got paid, so I'm about to go get me something to eat. And I don't want Chick-fil-A. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to cook either. I want something good to eat. But when you think about that, and I remember you and I had a conversation before, is me going out to eat or buying that dress or whatever, is it, if I want that right now, what is that going to prevent me from getting tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? Like, we a lot of times we say, I deserve this because I don't work, 2 weeks, a week, or whatever the case may be. And I remember that we were talking. I said, well, we also deserve to live a life of abundance.
We
We would
are.
never live that life of abundance if we're saying what I want is what I want and when I want it, and you can't tell me how to spend my money, right?
The abundance is not knowing how to get there. The unawareness of how to reach the level of abundance. You cut yourself before you reach that height. And right now, the world globally is going through well, at least North America is going through a wealth transfer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's over $71 trillion, where the millennials will receive inheritance from post or previous generations. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what are they going to do with the money?
Right.
So you can receive the money and have the money and still have the same mindset and end up with nothing. The same mindset that was there without the money is the same mindset that's present with money. Um, and in the wealth transfer that's happening, um, within the next 5 years, it's going to be the millennials will be pulled, in Generation Z will be pulled from everything because they're gonna want some of that money. So you got private banks, you're going to have investment firms, you're going to have financial investors that's going to be after the millennials. But what if the baby boomers don't pass away?
Right.
What are the do? So you're going to have a mindset of, okay, I have this inheritance coming in, but my grandmother is still alive. Grandma, grandpa has skipped their children and left it to their grandchildren and great grand. Skip their
Mm-hmm.
right that.
Mm-hmm.
But boomers last live past 65, live past 75 and 80 years old. What does our future what do our future children do? How do they understand that? So we have now what we call you said savvy investments, but I'll say strategy in their investments. Um, the investment now are of real estate, because real estate is going to drop. It's at a standstill in some cities. Here in Atlanta, I'm seeing many builders um, begin to rent out the property, rent out the houses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whereas, so you're going to see prices slash just a little bit. Now, we're not going to have a 2008 issue, but whatever goes up must come down. And
Right.
when it goes down, low. So those are some strategies that you purchase anything low, because eventually what's low goes up. Um, I would suggest saving for real estate, or land
Mm-hmm.
mostly, because land may erode, but it's still there. It may wash away a
Right.
little, but it's
Right. Because I remember when I was in my 20s, and I'm not gonna tell my age, but that was a long time ago. And I remember when I was in college, and a janitor, or a custodian worker, I'm not sure what they are called, but this guy, he would talk to a lot of us as students, and he had a wealth of knowledge when it came to finances. And
mhm.
he told us then, if I was just just me being me, wasn't ready. But he told us then, he said, if you need to go buy land. And he said, go buy land out in the Conyers area. It was just like, okay, that's just a bunch of farmland. And now look at Conyers.
Man,
Look at
yeah,
Conyers
we would
now.
have.
What if I would have
And
listened?
Covington.
And Covington, right? What if I would have listened 20 years ago? Because it was very inexpensive back then. I don't know what it is now, because it's still land everywhere. But what if I would have listened and bought a couple acres?
Yeah. Stocks is good. I mean, stocks is low. The market could crash a little, but if you purchase stocks at a low price, eventually we're not going to stay in position forever. So the
Right.
stocks will grow up. So you will have to utilize stocks of what kind of stocks that you're familiar with. A business partner of mine in the past would always say, purchase things that's in your home that you use, such as common
Yes.
toiletries
Yes.
you're familiar with. So you will learn Dove soap, stuff. If you use Dove soap, invest in stuff, some things like that. Pharmaceuticals, tech is up and down, but tech,
Mm-hmm.
those are the
Mm-hmm.
items just starting with. You can do crypto, but it crashed. It's too volatile for someone that doesn't have money to
Mm-hmm.
lose. Crypto,
Mm-hmm.
um, what's the other one? I can't think of the other one, but those are very volatile, risky. If you're new to investing in that form, I wouldn't suggest that, but I would suggest stocks. I would suggest IRAs, CDs. They're slow into seeing a return, but it teaches you about returns. Some CDs can increase your credit score. Those are called savings. So I have provided information to some of my clients that would like a credit score increase with CDs that report free credit. Um, and it saves it puts out that type of money. So those are ways of helping a person, an individual, to restrain. It's not that you can't spend the money that you make; it's controlling your desires and
That's
your
it.
wants, and so that you can be disciplined in order to receive the abundance that was so destined for you to have and live. Um, but some people would purchase a dress and then purchase a, a a Gucci bag, and then okay, I live once, might as well add some Louis Vuittons, or so go too far. So when you don't have the self discipline, harder to reach
Mm-hmm.
the abundance. Then you have your car breaks down or something. You have a setback. Those things aren't going to always be. It's just the convenience.
Right. Right. Because
It brings.
I remember my my dad told me one day when I was younger and I don't even remember what I wanted. But he asked me, he said, whatever it was, I remember it cost a lot. And he said to me, he said, you can take that same amount of money and feed you and your children for a month. He said, so what if you don't have any money? Are
Mhm.
you going to it was a pair of shoes. Are you going to put those shoes on a piece of bread? You know, and what he was saying to me is exactly what you and I talk about all the time is we should not live in a right now gratification. There's times that we do have to deny ourselves. And I'm looking at one of the comments where Steven said, he said, I say learn how to live off 25% of your income. But I remember when my dad and I had that conversation, it was kind of like one of those aha moments. Like, do
Mhm.
I really want this now, or can I wait to get it later? And if I want, and if you really think about it, sometimes some of the things, at least for me, let me speak for Tiny, okay? Sometimes I say I want something, and if I really want it bad enough, I'll wait and sleep on it for a couple of days.
Mhm.
A lot of times I change my mind anyway, or
Mhm.
I know some people that have buyer's remorse. They go out and
Mhm.
buy this, and then they turn around and take it back because I really don't need this. I need to take care of this, or I want to invest in myself in a different way. And I know that you and I talk about, and I keep saying you and I because she is my financial coach, y'all. We do have these heart to heart conversations. I have a whole notebook, which I'm not going to show y'all, but that we do have these heart to heart real conversations, as I am building and what I want to obtain. And let me just say this to you all. Don't be afraid to get a coach. We even Oprah Winfrey talked about how I think she got, I want to say she has 7, but I could be, the number could be wrong, but I know that she has several coaches, and a lot of people that I know personally have more than one coach. You need coaches going to specialize in whatever it is that you're needing for your life. Be okay with that. Be okay with telling your business.
Yeah, I have three coaches. Three major. It takes three when you're building, or more when you're
Right.
building yourself, when you're building your businesses. And I have multiple businesses that I manage as well as my own, and I
Right.
have to be cleansed and be a fresh mindset. Now, it's hard to save. I never say cut back. A gentleman said 35%. I hardly give a percentage like that, because if you have someone that's minimum wage, that's hard to
Mm-hmm.
do.
Right.
Um, if you have that funds, if you're dealing with a certain cost bracket, because I don't want anybody that's making $15, $20 an hour trying to make a decision on what to eat versus 35%. I just want them to create a budget for right now. And if you can't afford something twice, don't get it. That's for
Right.
that type of person.
Right.
There's another um, that has a certain income bracket. Yeah, 35%. But that's after we've looked at the bills. It could be 25, it could be 10%. It's just getting the mindset of saving or cutting costs and not being
Mm-hmm.
where you're frugal and you're not living at
Right.
all. And you give percentages out. I've noticed my clients across the years begin to become miserable, and then they think, oh, well, I got to live once. I've got to live. I got to travel. I got to do something to get into that frustration. So,
Yeah.
by I don't recommend that to all, salaried or salaries, just depending on the lifestyle. And I coach based upon that individual and not across the board simultaneously. So a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people obtain information that's generic, but every lifestyle is different. So you have to find your own way. The main thing is fear. When people are afraid of losing money or afraid of
Mm-hmm.
investing, it's fear. Is someone going to steer me the wrong way? So they end up reading a lot and mixing different views up and trying to make it fit their specialized lifestyle. Everybody's life, everybody's
Right.
situation. What I will tell you, I will not tell Stephanie what I want to, everything's different because your mindsets are all different. So you guys are going to think different.
Right.
The same advice. Even though you may read generic information, it may not apply according to life. So I'm mindful of just some of mistakes, and I've made a lot of them. But fear creates the inability to hear what a
Yeah.
coach is.
Yeah.
You don't. You're afraid. You hear less. If you don't hear what I'm saying or what another financial advisor is saying, then you will make hasty moves or hesitant moves, or you got to pray about it moves when you had the opportunity before you. Us miss our calling or miss our window because we don't see that the opportunity itself is a blessing. The
Right.
fact that they're there and discuss it is a blessing because there are many that don't even reach the door wasn't even allowed to be open. You're going to be hesitant, sit back and think about it. So when I was in the mortgage business back many months ago, I would just cut right there on the spot. And the reason why I did that, because I would rather just say find another lender than to deal with an indecisive person. God is
Right.
not of, okay, he is not. He is not of confusion and disorder.
That's
So
right.
that's the my life. If I'm here at the table, or if you got all the way there, that's not of that's not a confusion. That's just you being uncertain, you being unsure, you being in fear. The opportunity is there. So the window is what? It's just a short window. It's that window opens up for a short period of time, and if you don't move, it closes. And
Right.
I noticed many of us say, what's for me is for me. God has for me. What he did, the window was open at that time,
Right,
and you
at
didn't
that
jump on it.
time. That's
So
good.
that's your that you
That's
missed it. It's
really
not
good
all.
because what I believe is that um, a lot of times we make excuses as to, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, when we have that window, why we don't act upon it when there's wisdom coming our way. Well, I'm going to pray about it. Well, God is giving you a venue right here. He's giving you an avenue of how to get wealth. He's giving, because me personally, y'all know me. I'm going to be transparent. That I don't know how else to be. Uh, where there has been opportunities that's came my way. Hey, Latwana, that has came my way throughout the years. And for whatever reason, I can go down the whole list as to why I did not act upon it, or I started it, and because it did not manifest in my timing, I stopped doing it. And I should have stayed the long haul. Well, I didn't. You know what I'm saying? That was my testimony. That's not my testimony anymore, because I'm in it for all that God has for me. The window is here again. And we, like you said, that window, sometimes we have to wait for it to come back around. It could be next week, it could be next month, it could be a couple of years from now. When because we pray and we say, God, you said that I'm supposed to have life and have it more abundantly. I'm supposed to have all of this. I'm supposed to have, a cattle on a hill. I'm supposed to have, all these wonderful things. Yes, we are, but we got to put the work in. Even
Yes.
the word of God says, if a man don't work, he don't eat. You know what I'm saying? And so we got to be willing to put the exactly. Angelita said she loved how you said, if you can't buy it twice. If we can't, um, if we're not willing to put the work in, right, and to seek counsel, because the Lord even tells us to seek counsel. He gives us. God is so amazing that He gives us people. You and I have been friends, sister, family. I don't even know how long, but from day one, we've always just been real, with each other. And then when you start talking about finances, girl, you had all my ears, and then some, and that's because there was wisdom coming from you, right? We have to learn. And one thing you said that girl, that sounds like a whole message that I may have to minister one day, or you're going to have to minister. You said fear creates hearing loss. Listen,
It does.
fear
It
creates
does. You hear
hearing
what you want.
loss. You hear what you want to
It does.
hear. So that means that if you're hearing what you want to hear, you got selective
Mm-hmm.
hearing. Then I say we, because we all been there. Then you get upset
Oh,
when things don't pan out the way that you want. But then you say, God, show me, give me wisdom. God, show me how to do this thing. Then He sends the wealth strategist Takiyah along. He sends, whoever along to plant those seeds. Come on now, and give you what you need. I feel the Holy Ghost on this, honey. And that gives you what you need, but we don't take time. Listen, y'all, we don't take time to listen because we want what we want. Or here it go, y'all. Or it's not what I want to hear. I want to hear, okay, all I have to do is take this one of my paychecks, and maybe I want to pay my light bill, but I'm gonna go ahead and invest it in here. But it's that wisdom. You see what I'm saying? No, but if we're saying, like you said earlier, if we have and I'm going to say the courage, because sometimes people, listen, sometimes people, I'm going to say we, y'all, sometimes we just don't want to listen. We get hard-headed. Now, y'all know my saying, we get stuck on stupid, and sometimes we start dangling from dumb because we get that selective amnesia, because I want to go take this trip. I want to go buy those shoes, or I want, instead of saying, okay, what is it I'm supposed to be doing? I'm asking for wisdom, and then God sends us, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know how many conversations you and I done had, and you're like, no, time, you can't do that.
you have some situations where we want to live, and we have a right to want to just experience life, but it's timing. It's timing for it. It's a divine order and it's a divine timing for it. So when we decide to take hold of our lives, it's two ways. It's your way and it's God's way, right? So you ask God to provide a strategy or a way for you. And then you turn around and read something. This is for Christians. You read something in the books and you confuse what you ask God for to what you read in the books to take control of your life. You can't have both. So either you let God help you with your purpose. Your purpose is the only way to millions of dollars. I cannot make you help you be able to somebody else.
That's it.
So the only reason why I've had successes is because they finally found their purpose, and I was able to drive them to the dollars with that. But when you're trying to do what someone does, I can't do it because it's not your vision. Now, there's a difference between a vision and a doer. You have visionaries that can just come up with ideas. They don't supposed to complete anything in life. They're needed because a lot of us can't doesn't have an imagination, right? So visionaries can have these bright ideas of all these different things to do and can get paid for it. That's the purpose. You get
Yeah.
paid to create visionaries, to visions, right? But what I've noticed in entrepreneurship is that we have many visionaries that think they can open up an entrepreneur, become an entrepreneur and open up shop when you can't complete anything. So everybody's not an entrepreneur. Um,
That's right.
so the way that you can develop the wealth transfer is to obtain strengths in a specialized with a person that specialized in whatever field it is that you are weak in.
Mm-hmm.
We're building businesses to 2.8 billion twice. I've done it twice in my
Right.
and I've done hundreds of small business owners. But the reason why I was successful is because I hired people that were smarter than me.
That part. Can you say that again for the people in the back?
All
Can,
of my people are smart. They're highly intelligent because I can't do it all, and I'm not going to try either. So there's not a intimidation of it. I together. I'm the person that can bring it together, and I'm the elder of the group that knows how to foresee the future as well as the past and do the comparison of what I need to do. But when you're in this wealth transfer that the world is going through, we have a global recession that's going on. We have um, we have the wealth transfer of the largest inheritance that we've ever seen. It's a one-time opportunity that we ever seen because we had the baby boomers, right? And they're going to leave all
right.
this stuff behind. What or why will we still have 40% of the world's population? 40% will become millionaires still. Why? By 2026. Credit Suisse stated that by year 2026, globally, the world will have 40% millionaires. Why is that and how? How is that? How, we're in a global recession. We're in inflation. So why is that? Because you have visionaries, you have people that have learned intellectual property. They're inventors, right? And they know how to get that, intellectual property trademarked, right? To be paid. There are other
Mm-hmm.
ways that you can create wealth for yourself without saving your last. The only thing you can save for is to get that invention trademark, right?
Right.
You may not be able to put away 25, 35%, but you can save 1,000 to get your invention. So if someone else duplicates that invention or tries to use it, you can pull out your trademark. You get everybody's not an entrepreneur, but they're pushing on. So those are different ways that you can gain on, or how can I be a part of the wealth transfer that's happening in the world, is finding your purpose, is finding finding someone that can pull out that skill set, that desire of being purposeful in life. Life is about purpose. It's about who are you and why are you born here. Wealth is the abundance of everything. It's happiness in the family. It's nothing like making all this money and you're still unhappy, right? So we have
Right.
suicide. Okay, they made so all these young people have made a lot of money, and their suicide rate is really high. So um, if you're not stable mentally, if you don't gain wealth within your mind or within your soul or your spirit, then all the money in the world, I can't still coach. I will recommend you quickly to a therapist or a psychiatrist, because I can't go in that area and I won't try, right? I
Right.
don't that. The only thing I do is I remain in my area, and we all do, financial coaches, financial advisors. We remain in the financial part, but when we get to a certain dollar amount, usually we bring on a psychiatrist to see if you can deal with the millions of dollars that you're gonna make, or the hundreds of $1,000.
That's right.
Some people say that's it. I don't want any more. Some people make 750,000 and they say, okay, that's it. The change of their life, they felt like they're losing themselves. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not always about money, and I don't teach money when I'm speaking of wealth. I'm speaking of you as a being, and that
Right.
is how I get the wealth, right? Um, if you get there without being a nude, I don't know how you're gonna. I don't know if you're gonna be miserable when you get there. You may not want to be here anymore when you get. You never know what a person is going to be like once they feel like they have accomplished. I've had two that
Right.
didn't. I have two deaths. One got on drugs and died from overdose, and one committed suicide. Very close.
Mm.
But that is the beginning of what I want to talk about tonight. The transfer of wealth. It's a lot to it. It's just not a thing about saving money. It's a
Right.
big. It's
I
a
know one of
process.
the and one of the things, and it's a beautiful process if we allow ourselves to go through the process, right? And I know, like, even being a life insurance consultant, one of the things I even tell my clients is that this is a great avenue to build wealth in your family. This is a great
It is
avenue, to
wonderful.
leave a legacy, right? Because and it's tax free money, right? And so right. And
Thanks.
so a lot of times, people are like, well, I can't afford life insurance. I said, well, you can afford not to have life insurance,
I can't.
some form of life insurance. Um, and that's how a lot of cultures actually build money. I remember talking to someone at their own abuse supply shop. Okay, our Asian brothers and sisters. And one of the things that they told me is that one of the ways that they build wealth within their family, within their community, is that they put life insurance on the oldest person. And everybody pitch in and pay for the policy, and then when that person goes on, to be with Jesus, then they do on the next person. So they're continue this is continued cycle that they're doing, because they understand that, again, it's not always about instant gratification. I remember when I was younger, when we lived in an apartment. I remember this. Our neighbors, it was like 100 people in that one apartment, right?
Hmm.
But they all stayed in there, and it was a 4-bedroom apartment. They all that it was. I'm telling you, it's like it was like 100 people over there.
But parents is
But
a way.
they all stayed together to build wealth, and they were working their business, right?
The
And
what
so they. And when
And
they decided to leave the apartment, everybody had their own house. They did whatever because they understood. They had a, that's like you said earlier. You know, when you have a budget, they had a plan. I'm quite sure they had a budget. You know what I'm saying? But they had a purpose. They knew what they were. They had something to accomplish. You know, and a lot of times, right,
so when you
Angelita, she said culture values that leaves a legacy. You're correct in that. And but we have to come out of that me, that crab in the barrel mentality, you know, that poverty mentality. And just because, and you can attest to this, just because you have money does not mean that you don't have a poverty mentality. It's how you spend your money. It's where are you allowing your money? And something else you said earlier that struck a memory. You know, I remember this gentleman. I remember when he didn't have anything, you know, and he was just a very good friend of mine. And then we lost contact. And next thing I know, that he was coming to a church I was actually attending at that time to speak on finances. And he was a multimillionaire. And he's one of the things that he said that he did, and he always talked about money when he didn't have quote unquote money, right? But he always talked about money, and I always knew that he was going to be somebody because you never saw this man without a suit on. I don't care if he didn't have a penny in his pocket; he always had on a suit. He just looked like he should have money, right? And so, but one of the things that he said, and you mentioned this, that he went to the mall and he would go there for days and for hours and count bags to see where people were spending their money, and that's the stock that he purchased. He went
yep,
home and he looked under his sink to see what he was buying: Comet, bleach, you know, baby powder, whatever that he was investing his money into that he needed on a daily basis. That's where the stock. And you mentioned that earlier.
I'll tell you a secret. I watched how many people purchased the cars. What is it? The Tesla cars. I didn't
Yeah,
purchase. I purchased stock in the battery. So without the battery,
did y'all hear that? Listen, she didn't purchase. Let me hold on, cause girl, I don't even have my water. I need some water on that. Listen, y'all. She said, Takiyah Price, the wealth strategist, said, let me take that
you,
strategy, y'all. She said she didn't purchase the car. She purchased stock in the battery that's gonna run the car. Come on.
so that's what you do. What keeps things? That company is going to build. There's going to be other car factories that's going to utilize that company that's using the battery. You think deeper than the popularity. I have never been that type of person that deals with the popular thing. What makes the car run is the way I think. I always have thought. But it comes from a lot of mistakes. You've got to be okay with making mistakes and failure. You got to be okay to make a
That's
wrong
right.
decision. All right. It's
That's
okay.
right.
Make it can be fixed. And if it can't be fixed, just don't do it again and move
Right.
on. But we're so afraid of making those mistakes. I just jumped out there. I didn't know what I was buying, but I knew something made that car run, and there's going to be a competitor one day with Tesla. It's going to be a major competitor. There will be. It's
It will
inevitable.
be.
It will
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
So when it comes to insurance, I want to go back on something. When it comes to insurance, and these millennials, because I could have a millennial on the call. Reason why I'm going back. If a millennial is obtaining a cash from their grandparents or whatever, um, you have inheritance tax. So you will place the money in the following places. You can
Okay.
choose IRA. You can choose a trust. I suggest a trust
Mm-hmm.
because past a lifetime, and then you can get a trust attorney to tell you how to withdraw the funds, and then no one can ever touch it in life. You can put it in insurance. No one will know it's
Mm-hmm.
there. Okay, whole life preferably. And
Right.
you have a financial investor can tell you where to put it in some stocks or something like that. But those are the three places that I would suggest. Now, some baby boomers will not be able to leave wealth to the family because they're still living. And studies show that in 2021, if a couple of age 65 retires, $300,000 of it is used in medical expenses. So
Mm-hmm.
the medical expenses, the longer you live, the more expensive it is. So it may
Right.
the children, grandchildren, or whatever may not get the money because if the baby boomer lives for a longer time period of time, the money will be used on that, which we can bring back reverse mortgages and life insurance on another call on how to get around that.
And we will have it. This will be continued, ladies and gentlemen.
But just in case there are some children or millennials on the call, you would need to seek a financial advisor, or you're going to go through that money like there's it's going to just go through
And
your.
I seen it. I seen it where someone I knew that passed on, and he left his children a nice little nest egg, and it was gone like within a year.
Yeah.
I was so heartbroken, because they didn't listen, but they just spent it. And I remember like when my children were younger, and I had a conversation. I'm always talking about my dad, and I wish he was still here, Jesus. But anyway, and one of the things I said to him, and he and I agreed that the life insurance I have for my children, would have set them up. However, that it was a stipulation with that. They had to take a financial class and get financial educated on how to invest and what to do with money. 'Cause I didn't want them to be poor. I didn't want my children to have money and then they spend it because they don't know what to do with it. And there was an agreement that my dad and I had that if I were to pass and he was still living, that was something that he would make sure they did in order to get the money. And I think a lot of times as parents, we have to learn how to educate our children.
Mhm.
How
We
to balance the check. But I don't even know. Do people even use checks anymore? I don't even know.
know.
But how to balance the checkbook or to do the spreadsheet that you and I talk about all the time. Time did you do the spreadsheet? Listen, let me just tell y'all this right here. Like
I'm
this,
trying.
this is my financial coach, and y'all, she is like she's smiling now, but when it comes down to um, doing business, she is very, very strict in a sense because she wants everybody to win. But she's very strict, and I'm telling y'all, she knows what she's talking about. She has never, like I said earlier, she has never steered me wrong. And when I need to make a major decision financially, listen. Hello, listen. I'm calling her. Because I do believe in there. Like we can't be afraid to have a level of accountability
Mhm.
because there's older people that worked all their lives and they still got to go get a part-time job because they don't have any money. You know what I'm saying? And we have what's that saying? When you know better, you do better. Every generation should be better than the one before. But if we're not giving the next generation the tools, and they can't be better, right? And so, but we have to give them the tools to be better, and we can't be afraid. Y'all know me to be transparent. Because I know what it's like to have money. I know what it's like not to have money, and I know what it's like to be in between. And one day, one day, Takiyah, we're gonna tell our story. Say that IHOP story. But anyway, uh, but I know what it's like, and it's really time out for us to say. And you said it earlier. I'm gonna pray about it, or I'm walking by faith and not by sight. And yes, that is to be true. But sometimes y'all not walking by faith and not by y'all not walking by faith. What you're doing is you're going based on what someone said, and they're leading you in the wrong direction because you're not seeking wisdom. We have to seek wisdom when it comes to finance. Actually, in everything in our life, we should be seeking wisdom. But when we're talking about building wealth, generational wealth, there's so many different avenues out there that the internet is just full of information. Then you have coaches, you have your wealth strategists, like Takiyah Price, that is, and yeah, listen, it is a price, okay? I'm not gonna say it's free because it's not free, okay? We do believe in paying for time, okay? I'm just letting y'all know that. However, However, when you decide and you take the courage to say, you know what, I'm going, instead of me always going to Chick-fil-A or going out to eat and buying them shoes and, doing instant gratification, let me save that money, let me invest in myself so that I'm huge on building legacy so that I can build a legacy for the generations to come. So when my children are my age, they don't have. They should have more. I always tell my children. I said the greatest thing that you can do for me. I don't care if you. All my kids are college graduates. Praise God. However, that was a choice they made. Okay, if they wanted to be a basket weaver, my thing was own a company. Okay, be the best basket weaver. If you wanted to be a dump truck driver, own a fleet of trucks, right? But if we're not giving them the tools to do that, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with your profession. What you choose to do is what you choose to do. Okay, we all can do better. We all can strive for more. If that's what, now that's not what you want, then God bless you on your endeavors. I want more. People I know around me want more, and that's another thing that Takiyah talked about was who's around you. Y'all know me. I'm big on your tribe. Who is your tribe? I done gave y'all a sneak peek. A part of my tribe. Takiyah is not only my financial coach. Now we know how to separate, business and our sisterhood. Okay. But when it comes to your tribe, who is your tribe? Who is around you? We should not be walking in the room and we're the smartest person in the room. If so, then you got the wrong tribe.
Yeah.
Okay. Who are you allowing yourself to be around? And are you making a way for you to invest in yourself?
For the baby boomers or for anyone that's over 50, you should have a will.
Yes.
You should
Come on
have
with that wheel.
healthcare deliverables, meaning we should know if you want to be taken off of life support or you want to remain on life support. A power of attorney should be signed. You should you should you need to make sure you go through your family and friends to see who's suitable to take care of you if anything happens. Okay, take a double look, check, like really just watch and make sure that when you get old or or if something happens and you become ill, that you have the appropriate person that's over your finances, a
Right.
suitable, honest person that's over your finances as a power of attorney. What else? Oh, and if you want to give away, there are some billionaires that just said they're going to give away all of their money. They're going to be a philanthropist after they die, and they're going to leave their kids anything. So it's up to you. Now that can go on both ways. Millennials, if you're receiving on Generation Z's, or if you're receiving any wealth transfers from your
Mm-hmm.
grandparents, give away some money to. You can do some from what is it, philanthropy, obtain an attorney to do that. That certain percentage will decrease the inheritance tax, as well as the baby boomers. If you want to give away some of the funds and you don't, and no one's suitable to receive the funds, choose a charitable organization before your passing. Have that in writing so that that will be done without any issues. By the way, Tanya, are you going to tell everybody the difference between owning an insurance, being the owner of an insurance policy, and a beneficiary of an insurance policy? There is a
Oh,
difference.
yes. Yes, because when you are the beneficiary of the policy is the one that actually gets the finance. They're the ones that actually get the money, whatever. And I'm just going to put in layman's terms. There's other terms that we can use. Let me just put in layman's terms. The beneficiary is the one that is going to get the money. Now, you can have a primary and a contingent. Okay, the primary is the one that's going to get the money. Then you may have a contingent just in case if the primary is no longer living. Okay, now let me just put this out there right quick. There are divorced couples that have life insurance policies, and you forgot to change your beneficiary, and you go and get remarried. Let me just give you this scenario because we have seen it. Okay. Now, the person that that the policy is on passes. Okay. Now, the new spouse will not get the money if the new spouse is not as a beneficiary. It will go to the old spouse, okay, the previous spouse. Now, if you have minor children, I always recommend that you have someone like Takiyah talked about who's going to be responsible for your children, that they become the beneficiary for a simple reason that your children will not be able to get the money until they're 21. Okay. So, and if they do not contact the insurance company is not going to go looking for them. They will have to contact the insurance company to get their money. There's billions of dollars out there with the insurance companies that has not been claimed. Okay. Now, when you own a life insurance policy, it does not mean that you're going to get the money if you're not the beneficiary. Okay. Now there's some little loopholes. Yes, it is. We understand that. But I want you to make it easy on yourselves. If you get a life insurance policy, and I would say make sure that you have a whole life policy, whole life builds cash value. Term is exactly what it means. It's that time period, whether it be 10 years, 20, 30, whatever that time period is. Once that time period has passed, you have no more life insurance. There's a lot of people that get, I've done it when I was younger because it made sense. I got a term policy when my children were younger. I was younger because you can get more with a term policy. My children depended on my income. I did not depend on theirs. They depended on mine. Now, as I got older, I didn't need as much, right? But now I do because I got all these grandkids. However, but that was the reason why I had term. I want to make sure that I was able to maximize as much as I could for my children. Right. And so, and we can, if you listen, y'all can contact me if y'all want to learn more about life insurance. And I also put some of the things on my YouTube page. Okay. But we will go into more detail when it comes to life insurance. And we could talk about this for hours. I am very passionate about life insurance. It is definitely necessary. It's unfair if you don't have life insurance and you expect for your family to bury you. So, and you didn't leave them nothing to bury you with. Now you're dipping to their money.
The reason why I mentioned ownership and beneficiary. If you are a beneficiary, I can still sue you. The family can still sue a beneficiary. If I am the owner of the policy and I'm the beneficiary, then you can't, there's not grounds of suit. The reason why I mentioned that is because we saw the Anna Nicole. Remember what they did with Anna Nicole? She was a beneficiary. So they took her to court over and over and over. The reason why she was able to get the money is because there was a tape. That's the only reason why she was able to get that. She had, the boyfriend or child's father had a recording of it. But the son had grounds to sue and dispute the beneficiary if they find that the person wasn't of conscious mindset. But if you're the owner, beneficiary of the life insurance policy, that prevents all of this out the window. So that's the reason why I mentioned it. I wanted you to discuss the differences of it and how it can get the gray areas and flaky when it comes to the law. In order to break the law, you need to know it.
That's it.
So there are many people that do that, contest the beneficiary. Many of them. I've had a friend of mine whose step grandmother contest the beneficiary of her grandfather. She was the beneficiary. The grandfather left her the money and not the step grandmother. And took it to court. So when you're the owner, though, it changes everything. So I saw that with before I got into insurance, and I understood and I studied that case. So as many cases that I studied in the past and growing into business and everything. But yeah, that's all I had to say about that, about insurance and the wealth transfer that's going on in North America, the millionaires in a global recession with China, changing its currency. That's a whole nother conversation.
That's another.
Pushing out all American dollars and would like to use their currency. And it could be a bad decision, but guess what? They jumped on out there. but it's due to many. We have a Ukraine and Russia, the Russia and Ukraine war, and we have inflation, and we do have a global uh, recession going on slowly. In the
Mm-hmm.
meantime, will we will we will have 40% of the world's population to become millionaires. We will at all. So that is because of what I said: visionaries, entrepreneurs, people learning what their purposes are, people working in their purpose throughout it all, and also having more than one income. You have to
Yeah.
have more. You have to have more than. I think that the layman's term was 7. The minimum is 8 in one area of what you're doing. If you
Mm-hmm.
have a trucking company, then you would do, 8 things within that trucking company, not 8 different businesses. 8 things,
Right.
same umbrella. That's where the
Right.
8 comes from. It's misinterpreted as meaning 8 different strands, like separate. The easiest way to become wealthy or rich, which is a difference. If you want to become rich, you can you can build 8 different companies, but you're actually putting yourself building 8 different businesses. That's a lot.
That
It's a
is
lot.
a lot. Yeah.
Well, and the wealth, and I've been doing it forever. So, you know, um, if you're going to do it consistently, so wealth building takes consistency, and it does take sacrifice and work. It does take courage. It does take not being intimidated when someone's smarter than you. It helps. It really
Yes.
work hard.
Yes.
I don't.
Yes.
Those days
Teach
are.
me some. Teach me some.
I quicker. If I have to find, if I need $52 million really quick, I'm gonna assess the situation. I'm gonna assess the skill set. I'm gonna hire maybe 6 people to build $52 million in a month. Right, Tanya? So
Right.
it, it can happen.
Oh
And
yes, it can happen.
strong people. So we're often intimidated of having someone smarter. We want to be smarter than everybody, and we want the ultimate decision. Yes, I do make the ultimate decisions, but when it comes to actually doing the details of the work, the craftsmanship, the molding, and the cutting of the wood, no, I don't do that. I just say go buy this wood and and you guys get together, you make this, okay? You make this. So, and now don't get it twisted. If there's a situation where someone feels like they're needed and I can't move without them, then I have to roll up my sleeve and show them what I have. But it's not that I have to anymore,
Right.
So
That's the difference.
yeah,
Right.
you
That's the
hire.
difference. Mm-hmm. Right. When you understand and you talk about it and you said it all night when you talk about purpose. In the word God says that your gifts will make room for you, right? And when we're talking about purpose and you're fulfilling your purpose, then the finances will come. We shouldn't be so focused on the money that we're not fulfilling our purpose, right? Because I've seen it time and time and time and time again, and just some of the people that I respect and admire, when they're walking in their purpose, doors just open and the money is there. They're able to write their own ticket because they're doing a purpose. Now, if in doing your purpose, you have to know how to do your craft. That means you have to take time to invest in yourself. You got to take time to study. You got to take time to learn, whatever it is, whatever that is, and to be the best at whatever it is that you're doing on whatever level you decide to do it at, and purpose is key. It is key. And I always say we got to pursue purpose and not people. And pursuing purpose, the people will come.
Hmm.
And so, like the wealth strategist Takiyah Price came into my life many years ago. And we've been rocking ever
What?
since then.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna be truthful, guys. when I didn't want to help small business owners and individuals. I just wanted to stay in my corporate lane and give all the knowledge I had to corporations. It was easy. I was done with it. But God was saying, no, you won't be able to sleep. You won't be able to rest until you help his people. So I'm here, and
That's right.
I'm doing what God asked me to do.
And
Been doing,
amen.
amen. It was a fight though. I gave I did not. I
I
wanted his
remember.
children. Yes, cried about it
I know.
because it's hard to see what a person can be, and they want to be this over here. And I have to sit back and just guide them along the way and not interfere. I had to get spanked, you know, fussing at people. This is what you should be. You don't see it. No, they don't see it. They want to be this over here. This is what they want. Like, on over. That's what you want to be, and then we'll start all over when they realize it didn't. You don't get anywhere from that when you want to, when you want what you see and not what you are. That's a
That's
good one.
right.
So,
That is a
yeah,
good one.
so it's just, it was a fight getting there. But I'm happy to help those who needs help. But of course, I am still and will always be in corporate America. It's easier for me. I love seeing the volume of monies growing. I think my next goal is 400 billion, maybe three. I think I'll miss it because we're in a recession. But it is unfair for the small business owner or the individual to not have my knowledge, not sharing my knowledge with them on how to live comfortably within their means, or the abundance of everything is their decision. I've learned
Yeah.
that decision,
Yeah.
even though I want everybody to live
Yeah.
great.
But that is in so many different areas, not just finances, but that's like in ministry, that's in life, that's in marriage, that's in whatever. And in so many different areas of life, that we walk, and that was really good what you said, that we want what we see and not who we are.
Visible, we're visible. No one knew who I was because I wasn't everywhere. But corporations know who I am.
That I know.
know, but corporations see Takiyah, they're like, oh no, bring her on. But we are visible creatures. We want what we see,
Yeah.
be what we see, and we want
Yeah.
to we read. And sometimes it's just a generic. It's just generic. It goes, it gives you a guidance of what your life, but it may not always fit.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And I love this dialogue because this week we're talking about healing from the inside out. And so when we're talking about healing, a lot of times we don't look at it from a monetary perspective. Like how can we heal our finances? Because people are sensitive when it comes to their money. Because nobody wants you to tell them how to spend their money. You can't tell me, I'm grown just like you grown. You can't tell me what to do. When we're talking about healing financially, you sometimes we got to sit down and, like you said, we all got to take that spanking, and to grow and mature when it comes to our finances in order to obtain the level of wealth that God would have for us. Right. So it's just like a parent and a child, like, I want, but you're not even ready for what you want yet. You haven't grown to that yet. You know what I'm saying? Or when it comes to corporate America, you want these promotions, but you haven't even done what it takes to where you are now. It's like you said, we want what we want because what we see seems so glamorous, but we have to do the work. We have to put in the work. We got to do what it takes to get there. And when we're talking about healing, a couple of things you said, first of all, we got to know exactly what areas that we're broken in. When it comes to our finances, what type of mindset do we have? Are we willing to invest in the CDs, the IRAs, and stocks, and into life insurance and whatever else can yield us the money in our businesses? Or we talk about business, but have you done the first things first? I know you and I talked about this a lot, when as you're helping some of the small businesses, even when you and I first started talking, well, what's your business plan? Do you even have the name of your business? Because I remember one of the young ladies I was mentoring, I said to her, she was telling me she wanted a business. I said, okay, what's the name of your business? I haven't decided yet. When you decide the name of your business, then we'll talk about it. Because when you're talking about a holistic person and healing, it's first of all, you have to make a conscious decision to say, I want to be healed.
You have a couple stages. When I first get let me see. So I get a new client. The first thing that you have to see is what stage you have. Before ever, what is it? Elevation is what I call sifting, shifting,
Yeah.
and transitioning.
Mm-hmm.
Then, right. So you got these terminology that elevate, scale.
Right.
You get to these top of the. Before you scale a business, you have to stabilize a business, right? Or you stabilize after you stabilize it, you have to provide a strategy. Then you scale.
Right.
Yourself as a CEO, personally, can you handle the weight? Because we're all going to look back at you,
That's right.
see everything.
That's
So
right.
that's what an individual has to go through of sifting out all of the things that affect them, good or bad. Sifting. Like
Mm-hmm.
sift.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go from that to, I wouldn't say weeding out because you're just looking, you need to see the impurities, which means your frenemies, your enemies, your jealous, or self-reflection within yourself. You are your worst.
Right.
When you're able to detect that, you're able to be open. But if you're closed and you're rising on a business level, but personally you're closed, eventually you're going to crack at a certain level when you make a certain amount of money.
That's right.
So it's a process. It's all
It's a beautiful process if we allow ourselves to go through the process. I'm a firm believer in this. Sometimes you got to do the foolish things, right? And sometimes you got to look at yourself in the mirror, take off the wig, take off the eyelashes, take off the makeup, take off nowadays men, take off your toupees. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, let's just get real and raw with yourself in the mirror and say, okay, you know what? It's time for me to get myself all the way together, and look at yourself in the mirror and say, I give myself permission to be healed, and name the areas that you need to be healed in.
if
I
you know.
give myself permission to be whole. I give myself permission to forgive myself. It's not always about what someone else did, right? Because that's another conversation. Because we're the common denominator. No matter who come or who go, there's another conversation for another day.
We let them
But
in.
give yourself permission to say, you know what? Now that we're talking about finances, give yourself permission to say, I didn't always do it right. Listen, y'all, we're not always going to have it right. We're on the side of glory. It's okay. It's okay. But I would say it's not okay to stay stuck in that. Right. Don't stay stuck in it. Acknowledge it. Deal with it. Deal with your emotions. Deal with what has happened. Deal with what was wrong so that you can make it right. And get you a coach. Get someone that can guide you in the right direction. And because listen, let me just say this, y'all. It's just like being overweight. I'm going to go lose weight. Okay, we see that you're overweight. We see it. Okay, we see it. You see it every day, right? It's like when your finances are not in order. We see it. We might not know to what degree, but we see it. Okay. And so, but why continue to live in a state of poverty when you don't have to? You don't have to live in a poverty state of mind. You got to give yourself permission to say, because the word of God says, let this mind be in me that's also in Christ Jesus. Jesus was a great businessman. He took care of 12 disciples and their families. Okay, he was not poor. He did not. Let me just say this right quick, because a lot of y'all think it was only 3 men that came. No, it was a whole bunch of men that came and gave him gifts, or gave him money. They gave him wealth. Okay, Jesus was very wealthy. Okay, let me just tell y'all that, because some of y'all think he was poor. He was not poor. Where y'all get that from? He was not. Jesus, the Christ, my Lord and Savior, was not poor. Okay, right. So with that being said, give yourself permission to obtain wealth, because God says he gives us the power to get wealth. But you have to be able to tap into that power. And sometimes you don't know what your power is because you don't understand your purpose.
Yep.
And just like Takiyah said, and I'm going to take them. I'm going to have to preach that one day. When you said you want what you want based on what you see, but not who you are. Now that is really good. Okay. You want what you want based on who or what you see, but not based on who you are. And then you wonder why you're struggling financially or in other areas of your life, because you're not walking in your God-given purpose. How much beautiful and how much more at peace will you, and how much more effective will you be in life if you are walking in your God-given purpose? That's like Takiyah said, she was kicking and screaming to be all that God has called her to be. And listen, I'm gonna let her tell her testimony. I'm not gonna tell her testimony, but this is a part of who God has called her to be. There are so many people that she has helped just by giving them the information they needed for their business, for their books, for whatever else they had going on. And there's a whole list. I'm not gonna tell her story. I'll let her tell it at some point, because we will be coming back together, because this is so important to talk about finance. A lot of times people want to hear a lot of all the good preaching and prophesying and all that, and that's great in its own timing. But y'all, we got to get some practical teaching. Tonight was practical one-on-one, financial one-on-one teaching. She hasn't even gone deep with us, and I thank God and I celebrate God for your life, Takiyah, that you, again, I know that your schedule is busy, and I thank you for moving things around to be on with us on tonight, just to give us some tools that we're able to use, and purpose. She said this, purpose is the way. It is, y'all. Purpose is the way. And I will never forget this, because I have not heard this like this before, when she messed around and said, fear creates hearing loss. We can just pause right there. Fear creates hearing. You have selected hearing based on your fear, or based on your prejudices, or based on your desires. Because if it's not good in your hearing, it's not what you want to hear, then you're gonna turn that volume down, right? But yet you're still praying, because she said, matter of fact, she started off saying, you said, I'm going to pray about it. So you start off praying, but then when God sends you the answer, you want to go deaf, because that's not what you want to hear. And then you wonder why you're struggling the way that you're struggling. We don't have to struggle. Y'all understand what I'm saying? At some point when you get the knowledge that you need, then you're accountable for the knowledge that you received. Okay? So, but it's up to you to receive it. It's up to you to receive it, because God wants us to prosper, right? He wants us to be in good health. He wants us to have longevity of life. He wants us, because he said, God gives us teachers, right?
Yep.
It's not always about, I'm finna preach you happy. I'm about to, because he said we perish for lack of knowledge, right? So now that the knowledge is here, it's up to you to grab it, to obtain it, and to apply it, right? Our job is to give it to you. It's your job to take it and receive it, if you so choose to. That it's up to you. We're not going to twist your arm, because I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get all of the good. Okay, I'm going to get all the good knowledge. I look at my children. I see them doing their thing. I bless God for them. And I'm so excited to see what God is doing. I'm so excited to see what Takiyah is doing with her business, the wealth frequency, and what God is doing there. Listen, this is not the last time that you all will see Takiyah. And Takiyah, thank you so much. God bless you for coming on tonight. This will not be the last time that you will see Takiyah Price, the wealth strategist, on Can We Talk for Real. For the reason being, y'all know me, real talk for real people. And sometimes real talk does not always mean that it's going to be good for your, or it's going to be not so much good for your hearing, but it's not always what you want to hear, but it is what you need to hear in order to thrive in life. Because if we're not doing our part to allow you to thrive, and we're not giving you the sound doctrine, giving you sound information, then we missed it. And what's not going to happen on Can We Talk for Real? My hands are not going to have your blood on it. Right. So when God gives me something to give to you, we're going to give it to you. And again, Takiyah, thank you so much for coming on. And this will not be her last time. She's going to come on. I'm claiming them right now in Jesus' name. Y'all see how I did that, right? I got her all on the air, got her all exposed. I sure did. That she's going to be coming back on, and she's going to be talking to us, and we're going to pick certain subjects. If there's a subject that you want or that you need more information on when it comes to finances, let me know. Send me an email, or what you call this thing? DM me. What's that, direct messenger? Y'all know I don't be knowing all these terms, but and let me know, and we will address those concerns or those issues, or if there's a particular subject you want to talk about when it comes to finances. Listen, we're here for it, because we want you to be better, right? We want you to be better. We want you to be prosperous. We want you to thrive. We want you to be successful, whatever that looks like for you. We want you to be successful. So we're here for you. But talk back to us. Let us know what it is. Let us know how this blessed you on tonight. Like and share this. Let us know if this really blessed you. Takiyah, let them know how to get in contact with you.
You can find me at the Wealth Frequency on Facebook, Instagram. The Price of Wealth. You can go to www.thepriceofwealth.com and schedule a Calendly link. Schedule free 15-minute sessions, and I will give you some guidance quickly of what you can do to generate some wealth. Okay.
Awesome. Listen, y'all. I love you to life. I love.
No, you don't know what you don't know. All right.
True that. I love you to life. Thank you so much for being on Can We Talk for Real? Real talk for real people, the real and the raw, with your coach, Takiyah Takiyah. Y'all know me, Coach TT. Join me. Listen, y'all, we're about to go prime time on Can We Talk for Real every Tuesday from 10 to 2, I'm sorry, on www.opns97.1, www.opns971.com. That's what it is. www.opns971.com. Join us there. We will be on from 10 to 2. We are prime time. Look what the Lord has done, and I'm so excited about it. Feel free to let us know what it is that you are, or what questions that you may have, or what things that you want to talk about. I am here for it. Okay. I am here for it. Let's have that real dialogue. Let's have that real conversation, and join me every night this week. We are having 5 nights this week. Tonight was night number 1 with the wealth strategist, Takiyah Price. Tomorrow, we are going to have the community leader, Dr. Zifia Clark. Wednesday night, we are going to have marriage and ministry with Apostle and Elder Calvin Sears. And Thursday, we are going to talk about how to stop the bleeding in the churches with Apostle Stevenson Pace. And then on Friday night, we're going to talk about why is this necessary for healing with Pastor Sean X. Smith. Listen, I am looking forward to speaking with you all and just joining us every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love you all to life. Love you enough to be good to you. Let's live on purpose. Let's live with a purpose, and let's live in purpose. God bless you, and I will be talking to you soon.